Hello, it's Ruby, and I've just seen that my results have been submitted. I think they're my results. It says exam results in the title, and I didn't have exams, so it can't be from exams, but I have a feeling that it is them because we were told that they'd be released today. And it's really strange because it feels like it's been like a lifetime since I submitted my dissertation. The delay is odd. But it came through at 9:40 and I didn't realise because I had my phone on silent, like it was on the night mode. I keep it on night mode until 2 p.m. on Mondays because I don't want to look at my phone too much. I don't even know what to expect. I worked so hard on the dissertation and I really enjoyed doing it, and I kind of took a little bit of a punt. Sorry, I think it's up, so I'm not looking. I kind of took a little bit of a punt in doing what I did. I've taken it off. I've like gone to a different window because I don't want to look accidentally. I was writing about letters, not a novel. I'd never written about something like that before, even though I was writing about it as literature, because letters are literature. And I don't think scholarship recognises enough that letters in themselves are pieces of literature as opposed to just historical documents. But okay, I'm going to stop thinking about it too much because I'm going to get too stressed. I got a 74 in my dissertation, which is good, really, really good. I got a first. I'm so elated about that, so happy. It's not that it's a bad mark. I think just because I spent so long on it, I wanted it to be higher, and when I started my degree, I was like, oh, I want to get, I want to get a really good mark in my dissertation. I want to get like a really high first. And I didn't. I'm happy with it. I am happy with it. It's a reasonably high first. And then for my creative writing module, I got an 80, which is, I think, the highest I've gotten at any of my modules. So final reaction to results that I'll do on this channel, which is very strange. And I am happy with that. I am happy with that mark. 74 is good. I don't know why I'm beating myself up for being not good. I also almost forgot to actually give you a breakdown of my results and tell you what I got overall, because I do know that now. So I'm just going to go through every module, starting with first year. The first year doesn't actually count, but they've still put everything on our email that we've been sent through, so I'll just briefly say. I realise this might be quite confusing if you don't study in the UK, but the UK university system uses a number-based system, but it's not percentages. These are classifications, which I guess you could kind of see as grades. And that's with first being the highest that you can get. Just a quick warning before I actually share my results with you. People seem to like me doing this, but it's so boring, so please feel free to skip this chapter because they're just numbers, and I'm going to talk about this later. They're literally just numbers. It doesn't tell you anything about the quality of the work, I think, but I've shared it because people like me sharing it, and this is what I usually So for academic English, I got a 72. For the poem, I got a 73. For the novel, I got a 75. And for beginnings, I got a 74, and for approaches to criticism, I got a 72. And for oh my gosh, I did so many modules in first year, I didn't realise how many. And for introduction to creative writing, I got a 69. So overall for year one, I got a 72.63. Then for year two, in religion and Holocaust memory and public life, I got a 76. In Empire of Liberty, American Literature 76 to present, I got a 73. In Theatrical Cultures in Early Modern England, I got a 79. And in Revolutions and Evolutions 19th Century Writings, I got a 76. So overall in second year, I got 76. And then finally in third year, Charles Dickens, novelist, journalist and reformer, I got a 76. In Writing for Children and Young Adults, I got an 80. In Life and Death and Early Modern Literature, I got a 74, and in my dissertation, I got a 74. So overall for year three, I got 76, which means that since first year doesn't count towards your overall mark, my overall mark is 76. Overall transcript, so as you can see, it kind of goes through every single one. These are my first year modules here, and then it's got all of the marks that I got in those. I mean, I've shared all of these marks in videos, so you know exactly what I've got. The next day, I've just had my actual feedback released. I know that this won't actually, I can't really use it to improve next time, but this is the interesting thing, finding out the reasons behind it. Oh, okay, I haven't got my dissertation feedback back. I've only got my creative writing stuff. Original approach to a topic that works closely with your own creative piece. There is a clear signposting on the first page of the essay's objectives. Handle the primary text with dexterity, building a convincing argument around addressing the reader in a middle grade fiction. My points for improvement are, I misspelt a word in my picture book, which is quite bad. I misspelt debacle. I don't know how I spelt it if I misspelt it. No! How did I that? A tobacco? Okay, we're literally just about to leave for Brighton. Take 3. I think my dissertation feedback has been really slick. You can see my bag there in the background. I'm also going to brew myself some pink grapefruit tea to bring in the flask, because you have to never go without tea. Okay, feedback released. This is it. This is the dissertation feedback. Why am I so nervous? I decided not to say the good things that the marker said about my dissertation, instead to share the feedback. Second, suggestions for improvement. While the dissertation is fully versed in the centrality of letter writing, more detail might have been provided on this to give more specificity to the contextualization. Very, very valid feedback. We only had 8,000 words though. Like, I literally had like 5,000 words written on this, which I cut out, but it's all about being selective, and it maybe would have made more sense to take something out later on and provide more context. But this is a lucid, discerning and informative dissertation, well done. It also indicates clear suitability and readiness for postgraduate research. Okay, so second marker is that the dissertation might have spent a little more time in the intro thinking about the materiality, aesthetics and functioning of 19th century letters. Yeah, really good feedback, and really setting this up conceptually. The detailed close readings were fascinating, but a little bit more of conceptual architecture would have really teased out their meanings and linked it back to the bigger picture of communication and aesthetics in 19th century letters. That's really, really, really useful feedback. Obviously, like, too late because I can't change anything, but the framework is the most important thing, I suppose. Something like Leah Price's How to Do Things with Books. That sounds interesting, so I'm going to read that. Might have been useful on the border life of print as artifact. I'm going to read that way. Yeah, I'm happy with the feedback. I'm happy with the mark. I mean, I wanted it to be slightly higher, but I think a 74 is good. It's still a first, and the feedback is the important thing. It's not about the number, it's about the feedback. It's a couple of days since I've received my results, and I just wanted to add a little something, some reflections onto the end of this video. I think I'm actually going to go and get some tea though, because I do like having a cup of tea when I'm filming a video, as you probably know, and I also just got back from a walk, and it's July so it should be warm, but it's quite chilly today. I haven't tried the Whittards Earl Grey before actually. I usually just go for Dragonfly. That's really, really good. Delicious. I would recommend. So I just wanted to give some reflections, I suppose. The thing that I realised in getting my grades back, and I feel this every single time, the number itself, the grade itself, seems so banal. You look at the number and it doesn't mean anything really. For one, at university, some markers are more strict than others. Some markers mark more highly, some mark much lower. You could hand the same piece of work to 2 lecturers and one might give you 10 marks more than the other one. And so within reason, the mark itself can't be a viable indication of how somebody found your work, or like the standard, the quality that it was. And basically the feedback is always more important than the grade. The grade is literally just a number, is just a letter. The feedback is the thing which is important, which tells you and justifies why that mark is there. The words are always going to be more useful and more meaningful than the number. It's categorical and it's just a number. It's just a letter. It only means what the marker themselves has like ascribed onto it and what we ourselves have ascribed onto it. It's a symbol at the end of things. It's funny because we get so bogged down with numbers. I know that I have got bogged down with numbers the whole way through my degree. So let's say I get a 71. I would be upset that I got a 71 and not a 74, for example, even though technically both of those are a first, and both of those mean the same thing on a transcript. It's going to be a first whether you get 70 or you get 95. It's going to be a 2-1 whether you get 60 or 69. There can be so much disparity there between both of those marks, and yet the overall classification itself of the degree doesn't change. It's just funny, I guess, that we put so much into these grades, into numbers, when at the end of things they don't actually mean very much at all. So numbers in themselves are banal. So we might say, okay, the number isn't important, but the overall classification, the overall grade is important. Say a first, or a 2-2, or a 2-1, an A, a B, a 9, a 7, whatever. And yes, I think that's more useful than the individual numbers. but still not entirely useful. The important thing to remember is that these classifications are operating as part of a system, and their purpose is dependent on systems. I mean, very simplistically, at the end of the day, the reason that we need grades is for employers. It's for people to be able to easily and very quickly get a glimpse at what kind of level we tend to work at. So in other words, it's so not dependent on ourselves, it's dependent on an external system. And yet the grade is the thing that we treat as the most important part. And when we overfixate on them, and I'm definitely guilty of this, we end up making this our end point. We end up making getting a certain mark, getting a certain grade our end point of university. Instead of focusing on a particular grade, it makes sense, and the ideal would be us focusing on the material, and then just as a result of that, as a natural consequence of that, being given a broad grade like a degree classification, which gives a glimpse at the kind of level that we work at. It's good to aim for a high classification, a high grade, but of course the important thing about university is what you actually learn. That's the important thing, and the mark is just a way of kind of broadly and accessibly and easily letting other people know what kind of level you worked at. And when we overfixate on that, when we focus too hard and too much on that particular grade, don't concentrate on the really important and valuable thing about education, which is learning new things, broadening our horizons, being able to dedicate our time, literally this portion of our lives, to learning about things. I mean, that's incredible. Like, the act of learning, the act of learning something new, gaining a new skill, bettering ourselves, and that's literally what we're able to do as young people, and education is a huge privilege. Sorry, I know I'm rambling a lot, but this is something I do feel really strongly about, and it really upsets me that we end up making grades our end point. We end up treating this as the most important thing, because it's not the most important thing. The important thing is the feedback. Honestly, like, thinking about, so okay, you saw my reaction when I got my dissertation grade back. 74 I think is, you know, it's a good mark, and I'm not going to say it's not a good mark, but it's not the mark that when I went into my degree I was like, in my dissertation I'm going to get this mark, I'm going to get this really high mark for my dissertation, and I kind of went in with this expectation. But it's not about the number. And I wish I could tell myself, like, 4 years ago, Ruby, it's not about the number. It doesn't matter what number you get for your dissertation. What matters is that you learn something, that you enjoy the process, that you feel like it's valuable and that it's contributing something to the field. And then aside from that, in terms of the mark that you get, in terms of the, you know, the grade, and the important thing is the comments, it's the feedback. And I think the comments and the feedback to my dissertation were good, and I'm happy with that. Sorry, I'm actually filming this on my computer, but I just wanted to add this in. It's funny that we know this. I think, like, intuitively, we know that the grade isn't important. And I know that the grade isn't important, and yet when I open my degree results, that's still the first thing that I looked at. That's still the thing that I fixate on. That's still the thing that kind of gives me an indication of whether I've done well or not. I think that just shows, like, how deep-rooted this is as a problem, because even when we logically know that this is the case, the way that grades are given means that we can't help but focus on it. Yeah, basically this is just a reminder that the important thing is feedback. The important thing is the things that are specific to your work in particular. And then this, of course, is one of the huge problems that we get with GCSE and A-level. When you do your GCSE and A-level exams, you don't get written feedback. You don't get actual comments about how your work went. And obviously very, very difficult to do that considering the number of young people who are sitting in exams. But just getting the grade, that's not enough. That's not satisfying. They tell us something very, very broad, very surface level, and considering the amount of work that GCSE and A-level students put into that, I feel like something more than just a letter is valuable. Anyway, those are just some brief reflections that I've had over the last few days since receiving my results, but I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much to everyone who's been here for years, basically, and people who've come with me on my academic journey through university, maybe through A-levels, maybe even through GCSEs. I've been making videos since I was 14. I was in year 10 when I started making videos, and I guess like the very final chapter will be my graduation ceremony, which is next week, and I will be vlogging it. Anyway, thank you for watching, and congratulations to everyone who's opened their degree results, and congratulations to everyone who's just finished their A-level exams and their GCSE exams. Massive accomplishment, honestly, it's huge. I also realised that this critique is very deconstructionist. Just some reflections and musings over a mug of tea. And this mug as well is from Sparrow's Nest Ceramics. She makes loads of mugs inspired by the Cornish seascape, and it's the perfect thing to have when it's cloudy outside. I think I'm gonna go and do some reading now, and I will see you very soon. I think my next video will be my Italy vlog. I'm sorry that this is taking so long to upload.